about taking lots of notes as I'm going through the slides. We have a number of the academics that will be teaching the MSc in the room with me. So there's myself and Tim Adlam, whose video is also on. And then there's also Edwin, Nico, and Yongjun. So you'll get to see some photographs of them in a minute, and you'll know who they are. If you've got questions as I'm going along, if you just ask them in the little chat box, then what might happen is that some of my colleagues will answer them as I continue to talk, and when necessary I'll stop and I'll take those questions, and I will not only take the questions, but we can also come back to them at the end. Okay? Okay, I'm going to get started and oh, I'll wait for, okay, perfect. Thank you, Pascal. So, as you know, this is an open day for the Master's course in Disability Design and Innovation, and we are all very excited about it. It is a collaboration between University College London, Loughborough University London, and University of the Arts London. And all three universities are represented here in the room, so if you have any logistics questions or anything like that, we can all answer them. So the team, there's myself, I'm the Academic Director of the Global Disability Innovation Hub, and I co-direct the MSc with Tim Adlam, who's our new Associate Professor here at GDI Hub. And then there's Yongjun Cho, who's a lecturer here at GDI Hub, part of UCL, and will be leading the Design Methods course as well as your dissertation module. And Ian McKinnon, who led all of the work on the Olympic Park and the built environment. So he has huge experience of inclusive design, but with a more physical built environment hat on. And then we have Nico and Antonius, who are both from Loughborough University. Nico is the Associate Dean there and is joined in the room. He's here. So, and Edwin is sitting next to me, who is lecturer at the London College of Fashion, which is part of the University of the Arts London. And Aisha is also online and can answer questions about things like timetabling. Okay. So just going to wait 1 second because there was a bit of feedback on the line, but I think it's gone now. Okay, so the outline of the talk today is I'm going to explain a little bit about what GDI Hub is. So let me know in the chat box if you know a lot about GDI Hub or you don't know anything, and then I'll know how much detail to give you. Then I'm going to talk about the bigger picture of the Master's course in Disability Design and Innovation, then the student experience and the support, a bit about course details, and hopefully leave some time for Q&A. So this is where we're based. We are all sitting in this new shiny building. It was part of the Olympics, so when you come onto the park here in East London, in Stratford, it's a wonderful space, and we are sitting in the old Media and Broadcasting Centre of the Paralympics. So one great thing about it is that the internet connectivity is brilliant because it used to literally get out the signal of all of the Olympic Games around the world. And we share this building, the whole building, with people like Loughborough University and Plexel, which is one of the largest innovation spaces in Europe, as well as Ford Mobility, BT Sport, and others. And everyone, there's a great sense of community, so there's a lot of joint events and things, which is great. So we came out, okay, sound is not clear. Is it everybody, is the sound muffled for everybody, or is it just one person? Okay, I think the sound, it might be your speakers. I'm not sure it's affecting anybody else. Can somebody else let me know if it's affecting anybody else? And if it's just you, Ms. Firi, we'll send you the recording afterwards anyway. Okay? Okay. Yeah, if you turn off, if you do get a muffled sound, if you turn off your webcam and you don't see the images, then you'll probably hear the sound a bit better. I'm sure you don't need to see me. So London 2012 was a huge opportunity to do things differently. It was the most accessible Olympic Games, and it was the first ever sold out Paralympics. It was still, we think, the most successful Paralympic Games in history. And at the end of the Olympics and Paralympics, there was a chance to do things a little bit differently. So we thought, how could we do that and one of the ways of doing that was working together around the Global Disability Innovation Hub. So for those of you that don't know, there's part of the legacy program for the Olympics and Paralympics, there is a new cultural and educational district on the Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park. That includes close to £1 billion of investment by University College London in a new campus, equivalent amounts that are being spent by University of the Arts London on new London College of Fashion campus. We are also being joined by people like the British Council, the Cancer Research UK are moving here, and Loughborough University London are already on the campus. So there's a huge amount of new activity, and what we wanted to do was see could we bring together all of the people who cared about disability and innovation into one hub, which would have its roots in East London, but would have a global reputation and would be the global leaders in this space. So we developed a centre, a hub, around 3 pillars. One was innovation and entrepreneurship, the second was policy and participation, and the third was research and teaching. So what do we do? Well, we harness academic excellence, innovative practice and co-creation to tackle global challenges from a new perspective. And we are building a movement to accelerate disability innovation for a fairer world. It's very important to realise that we're trying to build a movement and accelerate disability innovation. There are many people around the world already doing brilliant things in this space, and we see our role very much as trying to help accelerate that movement rather than claim to have established it in any way. So some brief history and facts about us. We were founded in September 2016, just before the Rio Games. We have grown very quickly and we now have a research portfolio of over £20 million. We're both an academic centre and a social innovation company. So what that means is that we are also able to do some spin-out activity and some consultancy work. So it's not just academics that you would be in touch with when you come here. And we have a biannual Global Disability Innovation Summit, so the next one will be in Tokyo in 2020, just the day before the Paralympics. We believe we have a growing global reputation, so we've got some evidence for you in case you don't believe us. So we are delivering the flagship programme for the UK government on assistive technology for low and middle income countries, so they have invested £20 million into that programme, which we lead. We have a growing presence at leading various flagship conferences, so the CHI conference, AAATE, and those conferences, we have a budget for you to attend those conferences. So if you get a paper accepted, we would expect and help you to go and to present. So we believe that you guys are the next generation of innovators and thinkers in this space and will be the most important people around the world developing this movement. So we are very much indebted to try to get you to get the experience you need to be able to do that job. We have academic teams with key positions in global influence. So for example, I sit on the World Health Organization's Global Report on Assistive Technology. We're also founding members of AT-Scale, which is a global partnership on assistive technology. We delivered the Paralympic Legacy for London 2012, and we're creating a world-leading innovation ecosystem in East London and Nairobi. Some of these have quite a focus on assistive technology. Don't think that everything we do is assistive technology. It just so happens that because we've got £20 million of funding in that area, that some of these just are more prominent than other areas at the moment. So the bigger picture of the MSc Disability Design and Innovation. Just to let you know a little bit about our institutions that will be delivering it. So UCL is generally a top 20 university globally. We like rankings when we're higher and we think they're rubbish when we're lower. Generally, UCL Interaction Centre is a world-leading research-led centre. So UCLIC leads UCL Interaction Centre is a key component of GDI Hub. And it's a space where computer scientists and people with a psychology background and a design background all come together to design new ways of interfacing with the world. And of course, the way disabled people interface with the world is in its specific but also very interesting category of this. Loughborough University beats us hands down at student experience. They are excellent and they top the student experience survey. So we are learning from them, and we are helping to create a world-leading experience for you guys when you join. And of course, we have the London College of Fashion New Business Schools. So it's been shortlisted for the Times Higher Education Business School of the Year in 2017 awards, and it basically is continuing to grow a global reputation as a multidisciplinary school in fashion business, but also moving fashion business into broader areas. I've been very impressed with the work that they're doing, and we're all learning from one another to create the course for you. So what will you actually do? It's a good question. What is the student experience like? What is the support like? So what will you have? Well, you've got one-to-one mentoring. We're not expecting a huge course. We're not marketing it as a huge course. We would expect there to be between about 20 and 25 people on the course, and that means that you would get one-to-one mentoring. We're also doing a lot of work on the inclusive learning environment, so making sure that all of our materials for classes are in different formats for different people. We have active engagement through UCL for the professional services on mental health, wellbeing and disability. We also have international student support, and we have making spaces. That includes kind of hand tools and things, but also 3D printing, Internet of Things. We've got capability to make very big things and very small things, and you would have access to those. So what would you be kind of doing? Well, you'll proactively attend modules, so we will have teaching and workshops and things for you to do. But there'll also be a series of social events. So some of those are just nice events, like last night I was at an evening event following the graduation of the different masters of human-computer interaction, and we have just a little celebration once people graduate, where everyone has a beer and some food, and there's a little bit of a party. Whereas other things are more academically focused. So we have some keynote speakers, some seminars, some project days, those types of things. We also encourage you to get involved in the student clubs and societies, and also in volunteering opportunities, of which there are very many across UCL and Loughborough and London College of Fashion. So in terms of the course details, there's 3 terms. The first term you do a 30-credit module, so that's quite a lot of work, on future global technologies for disability and development. It's a bit of a tongue twister, but it basically gives you an overview of what you need to know theoretically about disability and development, and begins to let you delve into some case studies so that you can explore and practice your knowledge acquisition. That's supported by Miko's module on design thinking at Loughborough University, and also by research methods and making with Yongjin. In term 2, you have a full day based at the London College of Fashion on applied business and marketing strategy for disability developments. So really looking at how you can begin to build a plan for bringing your ideas to market. The collaborative unit, which is a project with industry in East London, where you get to work in a group doing a disability innovation for a local enterprise. And then you have an option module for people who are maybe more interested in human-computer interaction or technology or assistive technology. Then you can take my module on accessibility and assistive technology. For people who are maybe more interested in policy development or the more global picture in that policy world, then you can do a module on disability and development. And then there's a module on inclusive design and environments, which is led by Ian McKinnon, which is basically a huge case study of the Olympic Park and how the Olympic Park was delivered to be award-winningly inclusive. So it's got a really strong focus on the built environment and an inclusive design of the built environment. And then in term 3, you get to do your dissertation. So when you graduate, we expect you to have a systematic understanding of the unique challenges of developing technologies in an international development context, the ability to apply engineering design thinking and systems thinking to complex problems. So this is primarily taught by Loughborough University. So you take into consideration the social, the political, the ethical considerations in which a problem exists. You'll have had lots of hands-on experience of making products, testing what works, and have expert knowledge in the challenges faced when deploying technologies in the field, which there are many. I've got many stories. Developed a business and marketing strategy for a range of products and services for both commercial and third sector organisations. And really importantly, you've developed a solution. So through you will be responsible for developing a solution, be it a product or a service, even a policy, and you'll have detailed expert knowledge of your specific domain. So one of the reasons for having one-to-one mentorship is to really think about what it is you need to get from this master's course, and then be able to make sure you get access to developing your specific domain knowledge as well as the more general, broader picture. So just quickly, I've got a bit of a deep dive on each of the each of the modules. I won't maybe read through all of them in great detail, but they're there as well so that you can look at them afterwards and come back with questions. But in the 30 credit module here, you can see that the three things you're really focusing on are context, problem definition, and insights. So looking at those foundations for disability innovation, which is very much this global context, how has disability is framed in different countries, and what does it mean in terms of citizenship and how people claim their rights, so the right to have education or go to work or have a family. Technology and innovation for disability, the principles and practice of disability inclusive social development, and then the case studies. So these are just examples, but perhaps, for example, we might be looking at media solutions to end stigma or mobility solutions for under-5s in Kenya. And you'll be really, the real deep dives, you'll be learning from the people who are actually in the field delivering these programs and helping to understand the lessons learned. Research methods and making has three bits. You do making stuff, you make stuff. You look at qualitative analysis, so that is, and then you look at quantitative. So in terms of qualitative, learning to do research, ethnographic studies, learning to actually interview people, learning to then analyze that data. Frequently people do interviews, but they don't systematically analyze the data in a way that helps account for the bias that everybody has bias when you come to analyzing data. And then just knowing about the statistics, the types of statistics that are available to you, the types of tools that are now available for data visualization, so you can start to tell your story, whether it be in the marketing plan or a business plan or in the academic paper, that you're able to make use of the knowledge that you have acquired. In design thinking, Loughborough University and Miko will be leading on thinking about the design skills, and nearly everything that has something to do with disability is a wicked problem. If it was easy, we wouldn't exist, the solutions would have been found, and so you have to work in teams. So a lot of the problems globally are because the teams don't work well together and different disciplines don't work well together and different budgets don't work well together. So you'll be able to learn a range of design thinking tools so that you're able to apply them to, pick the appropriate tool to inform your project development. And then you'll have developed a systematic approach to tackle these complex projects. So apply the tools in the context, work with a variety of stakeholders, and then ultimately be able to really understand how to tackle this wicked problem. And that systems thinking really feeds into the second term module on the collaborative unit, where you apply all of that knowledge. So you're working in a project-based team, you apply these design skills to a wicked problem in the team, but it really helps you gain that hands-on experience framing and resolving practice-orientated and real-world-based challenges and problems. It really engages your critical inquiry. It's much easier to do theory than it is to do practice. So really having to work through these problems is an interesting challenge for students. And it's a unit that's worked exceptionally well in Loughborough University across a number of their master's programs. And they have very kindly adapted it so it's a bespoke module for our MSc. And then you'll have a day, I believe it's a Wednesday, where you'll be in London College Fashion doing applied business and marketing strategy. So you need to understand market trends, you need to understand market demand, and you need to have a business strategy. And that, it seems really obvious for maybe a product, but it also matters for service. And in many ways, it matters even if you're just trying to sell a policy. You still need to have a strategy that the various stakeholders are going to buy into. You need to know that there is demand for what you're trying to sell. And LTF have a great reputation for being able to deliver quite bespoke things and scale them rapidly, which is exactly what is needed in the kind of disability innovation world. The your dissertation module is exciting, I think, because it gives you the opportunity to work with one of us and probably an external entity as well. So we are getting projects from a range of people at the moment. Some are UN agencies like the World Health Organization, others are local entities, but you can also bring your own idea. And you'll develop a portfolio. So we also have made the assessment of the dissertation quite flexible. So you don't necessarily have to write a 10,000 word dissertation. It might be that you make something and you write a 2,000 word description of what you've made. So we've tried to be as innovative as possible in how you would be assessed, so that everybody gets to do something that's genuinely useful, but is also of a standard of a master's in this area. So that's the course. I think I've talked for long enough. So I'm just going to throw it open to questions, and it normally takes a few minutes for the questions to come in. So whilst the questions come in, I'm just going to open it up to everyone else and the other academics in the room to see if there's anything I've missed or they'd like to comment on. Gentlemen?
Have we got any questions from you?
Joseph is now typing, so we'll just wait to hear what Joseph has to ask. Oh, lots of people are now typing. That's a good sign. So, Tammy, we only have one exam, and that's because by UCL makes us have one exam. So the design methods course has a physical exam, which is weighted as, you want to remind me?
Yeah, 70% will be basically calculated on examination, and 30% will be for individual portfolio, which is about your project.
Yeah, so only one module has an exam, and that exam accounts for 70% of that module. Roughly speaking, it's about 70 to 80% for every other module is based on a final coursework assessment with some bits that you're being asked to do throughout the course. So there's normally a submission of a 2,000 word or 3,000 word bit of coursework at the end of each module. So Joseph, you're saying you're a doctor specialised in, I think, might be MS, orthopaedics. So you're interested in developing prosthesis. So we're not a recognised course for developing prosthetics. The courses in the UK that do that are Dundee and Salford University. So if you want to become a prosthetist, then that's what you need to do. But if you want to become a person that can inform prosthetic design, then yes, this course would help you greatly. So you can become an engineer, a clinical engineer in that space. So we have people within the GDI Hub team who are developing elements of prosthetics in teams, and different liners, for example, sensors for measuring prosthetics use. We are part of 2 different projects that are measuring up. We're developing a new upper limb prosthetic with Salford University for Uganda and Jordan. So we have a lot of research in prosthesis, but you won't be a qualified prosthetist. Does that answer your question? So Pascal, can you clarify what you mean by access to other facilities at UCL East Campus? So you will have access to any of the facilities here at the campus. There's computer rooms, there's some robotics, there's some making spaces, but you will have access to all of that. I'm just wondering if you mean the wider Here East campus. Joseph, one other thing is that we would also be able to link you into people like Otterbock and Blanchford, who are obviously some of the main prosthetic companies, as well as some of the newer startups. So we work with a couple of startups. One is Amparo, who do a new socket design, but we also are in conversations with DREV, CrossFit, many of the companies that are doing 3D printing of prosthetics now. Tim, do you want me to add on prosthetics?
Yes, so this isn't clinical training to be a prosthetist. That's a clinical degree, and it's 3 years at Salford or Strathclyde.
Yeah.
So we're not that. But what we would be teaching you is design skills and some technical skills and background around the need for prosthetics, the kinds of technologies that are used, and the context of doing that kind of work in an international situation. Tammy, can design students apply for this course? Yes.
Yes.
Very welcome. Kind of project expect to see in the portfolio, that's up to you. We want a project that demonstrates your ability to solve multidisciplinary problems. I think if I was trying to summarise it in a very short space.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to do product design, that's great. If you want to do service design, that would also be fine. Or you could look at doing some policy development work, or there's a whole range of different options you could look at putting in for your dissertation.
So just saying there as well that there was a question in the other chat window from, I think it was Joseph, that was asking about having an MBBS and then an MS in ophthalmology. That's absolutely perfect. There's an awful lot of innovation needed in eyeglasses, screening, loads of work needed. And actually some very interesting work happening around the world of AI, artificial intelligence and screening. So you'd be very welcome. And is it a problem that you're from India? Not at all. So despite what the UK might seem like to the rest of the world at the moment, London is not like the rest of the UK, and we are very open to working with everybody. And getting in from India, the only issue with getting into the UCL from India is the fees. You will be classed as an international student, so you might want to apply for one of our studentships. Alternatively, depending on which year you're thinking of applying, if it's this year, you might just need to pay for the fees. But if it was subsequent years, you might want to look at Commonwealth Fellowship to come here. Yeah, so just Freddie, the engineering computing background, it's just a logistics thing that we're in computer science. We had to be placed in one department, and because human-computer interaction, which is where I am based, is in computer science, that's physically where the course gets registered. And it's an MSc course, but it's not a specialist computer science course. It's a design systems thinking course. So we welcome people from anybody who has a background in disability or innovation or design, accessibility. Anything is good. Yes, Imogen.
Yeah.
We've got a couple of minutes left. Is there any last couple of questions? Pascal is typing.
Yes, the other thing just while we're waiting for Pascal and Tony is that on the computing and engineering, there will be opportunities to practice doing things as well. And the best way one of the best ways to help learn those things is about doing them and having a go and learning it as you practice. And we've got plenty of opportunities for practicing technical skills. The online preparatory course is free, no fees for that. It's not compulsory. It lasts 2 weeks. So the first week we'd be looking at about an hour's contact time per week online in a similar format to what we're doing now. And we want to use that time to introduce a baseline for the whole course really and cover everything a bit. And we also use that time to get to know you a bit as well. And then at the end of that first week, we will introduce you to the project, a little mini research project. We want you to go out and measure something where you live. At the end of the second week, when you've done your measuring and finding out, then we would be really interested if you come back to us and show us what you've learned by some means. You could use this forum, or you could send us a video, or you could talk to us, or write something. It's up to you. That's not a formally assessed course. It's an opportunity to provide some common ground, some common language for everybody who's joining the MSc. The date for the online preparatory course, the date we are working to at the moment is, I forget the actual date itself, I know when it is. So we have the induction week, I believe, starts on the 23rd of September, and we're aiming to run the online course 2 weeks prior to that. If there was a big problem with that, we could look at moving it a little, but we would need to know.
So I just wanted to come back to Pascal's question on the dissertation period.
Yeah.
So so access to all campuses to complete the research. You will definitely have access to the UCL campus and any other campus that you need. So that's not a problem.
Yes, you will be UCL students, so you have access to UCL Central London as well.
Yeah.
If you want to make use of student facilities there, you're very welcome to do so. Likewise, just talking about campuses and access and so on. From a student support point of view, then student support would be mainly happening at Here East. But again, if you're needing a bit more support with things, then we would encourage you to seek out help at UCL Central if you need that. And we here are very happy to help you find what you need. And if you're struggling with something, do come and talk to us. Or if you don't want to talk to us, we'd rather you did, but if you don't want to, then you can go and use the UCL support services that are there as well.
Okay, if that's all the questions, then I think we'll begin to wrap up. Thank you very much, everybody, for taking time to join us, and hopefully we've managed to answer your questions. Tammy and Joe are just typing something, so I'll let those come in very quickly. And if you do have further questions, you're very welcome, Joe. Then just if you reach out to Aisha, she will collate the questions and send them on and point them to us as needed. We look forward to hearing more from you, and whatever you decide to do, we wish you the best of luck in your future career. Thank you very much.
Just wait for me.
Yeah.
So I think you will find that the group of students we have joining us is going to be a really interesting group of people from very many different backgrounds and different kinds of expertise. And personally, I'm quite looking forward to meeting all of you and learning some things myself from people who have come with skills and knowledge and so on that I don't know about. It's going to be good. I hope that you will support one another and be able to help out with things that different help a lot of the things that you know about that somebody else doesn't perhaps quite so much. And trying to build a community that's supportive and that grows and develops together.
Go on, Pascal. Thank you, Joan. So we don't have but they have passed for this year. There is one around September. If you look at if you Google, we can get some dates to you. Aisha, would we be able to just send the dates to everybody? I think there is one in September. So there's normally one around. Yeah, and that's open to everybody on the campus. So there's lots of events that day. I'm just quickly Googling it.
Yes, there was one last weekend.
There was. You can book a campus tour if you go to this link. Should be able to know a bit more. So I think for the undergraduate, there's also undergraduate days, but for the graduate days at UCL, I think they have kind of rolling tours and things that you can book. Okay, well, thank you, everybody. It's been nice to talk to you all, and I look forward to seeing some of you at least soon. Take care. Bye.